Button. Okay, there we go. Good morning, family. We're here with a phenomenal speaker and entrepreneur, Earl Ameen. And I just want to say good Thursday to you guys. We promise you another speaker today to dive deep into the journey of entrepreneurship, to step into their world, to bring you into the arena and inside the mind of a very, very accomplished entrepreneur. And I'm excited today because today we're going to be talking about coming from a place of love, coming from a place of serving. And Earl and I got to know each other pretty recently, but his story really hit home with me. And that's why I'm so excited to bring on Earl Ameen today to the call. Earl, thank you so much for coming on. It's my absolute pleasure. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and thank you for having me here today. I'm most truly honored.
Absolutely. It's phenomenal. And for the audiences who have not yet known about Earl, he's here in Austin, Texas, where so many of the great entrepreneurs were born or are meant to shine. So if you're planning a visit to Austin, Texas, definitely make sure you connect with Earl and come and drink a cup of coffee with us, because Earl, and you're going to hear his story soon, but Earl has a phenomenal impact on the local economy, the local ecosystem right here in Austin. So that even makes me more excited, because we got people from all over the world, Earl, joining these interviews, but you're right here hitting it home. So I'm very excited. Now, let me give you a quick introduction to Earl for those of you watching. So Earl is the CEO of the Gray Owl Company. And like I mentioned, Earl really developed a platform to serve and connect and bring people together for the greater good. So Earl, can you take us through your journey real quick for the people wanting to get to know you? Like, take us back. What is your company about, and what was the reason why you got this started in the first place?
Well, thank you very much, Rob. The journey of the Gray Owl Company has been long and has spanned over some 36, almost 37 years. I have been in business since I was 7 years old. Owned a business, making money, learning the pros and cons. And I'm actually pleased to say I have more failures than I have successes. Now, that may seem like something odd to say, but it matters, because we learn most from our failures. And it depends on our attitude about failure as to whether failure serves us.
Yeah.
So actually, failure is just the other side of the same coin of success.
So good.
So my journey has been from 7 years old, living in a very cerebral household, being taught just about life, about how to do things with excellence. My family owned a business, Weld Art. So, when I was 16 years old, I was a foreman in a steel mill with a jackhammer.
Wow.
I learned about work ethic and still always having a business. I went to university and learned that I wasn't learning. So I made the choice in my junior year to stop going to university. For me, and I'm not an advocate of not going to university, but for me and others like me, being trained into a box, into a specific way of thinking, was not going to serve the me that I am. So after leaving college, university, I went back home to Gary, Indiana, and I found myself standing on the street corner selling peanuts, salted and unsalted, and foot-long candy canes. However, as pedestrian as that might have appeared, I was earning cash money. And so I learned about products, I learned about customer service, I learned about inventory. I learned about all the fundamental aspects of business. And then I went to work in the fast food industry with Wendy's International during the Where's the Beef period. So that was a really intensive training period on the truth, the reality of managing not only material, but managing people, managing growth, managing just every aspect of business. It was high velocity training. And that type of experience has stuck with me throughout my career.
Wow.
So I went on from there working in food service. I had my wins, I had my failures. I went into the direct marketing industry, did very well there. I made my first real money in direct sales, or what was called network marketing then. But I also had my first really substantial loss in that area as well. And again, it's not about losing or winning. It's about the choice you make, the decision you make, the relationship you have to loss or to losing.
Yeah.
And the relationship that I developed is that I welcome both, because they both teach me. And if I have all successes, then I'll never know the pain and the diversity of losing. So I've had my ups and I've had my downs, and I appreciate them all. As I continue to move forward after my time in network marketing, I decided, okay, what am I going to be? Now, I was in my very early 30s at that time. And who am I? What am I going to be? Those questions begin to pop up. And what landed for me was that I wanted to be in service to people. You know, you hear people say all the time, I want to help people. Yeah. Well, okay, wanting to help people is actually something intrinsic. It's built into our DNA. Yeah. And there are certainly few exceptions to that, but I wanted to help people. But as an entrepreneur, you cannot operate in the generality. You have to refine your intention down to something specific, and then focus on that specificity with great intention until you either determine that it is the wrong thing or the right thing. And you want to do that as fast as possible, but it takes time to learn how to do that, to recognize, and you've heard the phrase fail fast. Mm-hmm. Well, that doesn't mean just fail forward or fail forward. That means that as quickly as possible, determine that you're in the right space, going in the right direction, and if not, then shift. Yeah. So moving throughout my career, having my successes, traveling around the world, I got to involve myself in various cultures. I learned that we are all the same people, that there is really only one race, but there are many cultures. And so I shifted from looking for diversity to looking for distinction. And that is the basis of everything that I do. And it was how I came to understand what love is. I thought that love was romantic. Right. I love my mother. Yeah. I love my family. I love my wife. But no, love is not romantic. Love is action. Love is something that you do. And if it is something that you do, then you must understand that the basis of every action underneath it is always choice. So I came to realize that I am never unempowered, and nothing can disempower me except me. I have to choose to be disempowered. Therefore, again, I had a monumental shift in my understanding of what I was experiencing in my career, in my life. And I began to understand that if love is an action and therefore love is a choice, love is the choosing to sacrifice on behalf of someone or something. If I focused on choice, let me build the muscle of choosing. And that required immense self-awareness. It required not looking at my past and dwelling on it. I no longer even use terminology of history. I refer to history as reference, because it is the only thing that I can do with it, is refer to it. So I draw from it what is going to be useful. I don't draw emotion out of it, only the information that is useful, and apply that to now, because now is the only place that I have power.
Beautiful.
And so Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to quickly break it down because I'm hearing so many golden nuggets already, Earl, in this story. So I just want to break it down real quick because you started out very, very early, and everybody listening to this at the moment, and especially the people who are thinking of entrepreneurship, maybe they haven't exactly specified yet what that journey is going to look like. Maybe they haven't even specified yet what their product or service might going to be, what their purpose is, right? But in your journey, I heard you say that you learned that success is actually a bad teacher. Success is a bad teacher, and therefore you choose to fail quickly and fail forward, because those are the lessons that truly matter, that have shaped you to where you are today.
Yeah, success is the moment that you realize the value of your failures. Success is the moment that you realize the value of your failures. So pursue success, but definitely give intentional attention to the value of your failures. They are meant to teach you, to prepare you for success.
Beautiful. And guys, for you, those of you listening, that is exactly why I wanted to bring Earl on today, because Earl is full of wisdom, right? This is not something that they teach you in business school. This is not even something that you learn. This is a spiritual and higher consciousness of your role inside the business and inside this planet towards the human race, right? How can we leverage business as a tool to make the world a better place? So I'm very intrigued, Earl, by what you just said, and your awareness and your role into what you do and how you contribute to the planet. Now, I want to take it back a little bit about serving from a place of love, right? That dominant energy, life force that is the foundation to everything you do. Now, when you dropped out of college, I'm sure that you hadn't all figured it out, right? You just realized that the college was not your path. So what is it that you did besides going onto the corner and selling the peanuts and candy sticks, right, to make some money? But what is it that you did or you discovered about yourself that will eventually lead you to finding out what is your true purpose?
Excellent question, and thank you for that. What I realized is that while I was standing on that corner of 5th and Chase in Gary, Indiana, from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 days a week, was that I am not my circumstances. I never chose to look at that as who I am. It is what I am choosing to do for a reason. And therein lies my purpose. So my purpose came from, first, I have to love myself, and love not being initially romantic. I can apply romance to it, but love being, I want to be the best I can be one day at a time. And after consistently doing that, I can look up on occasion and see the road ahead. And that is what gives me 20/20 foresight, and what also determines my capacity for hope, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is the first element of success. When I wake up in the morning, then I refer to my yesterday, and I can see the path that successfully led me to today. So I start with celebrating. I start with gratitude.
Amazing.
Gratitude for the day. That is the first success. Then I peer into what the day has for me. And of course, you can break that down into various business dynamics, but I first start with loving myself, understanding the awareness of love that I have for myself. And when I say myself, it's never the one word, MYSELF. It's two words. The self that I possess, the I am. That is where my awareness is critical of myself. And if I can serve myself, if I can love myself, if I can choose actions that benefit me becoming better every day, I can do that for someone else by choosing it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Earl, let's switch a gear for a second. So let's say if people are currently looking to build a business, right, but they haven't figured it out exactly what that might be. Now, how would you tie the journey of finding out yourself, your self-purpose, and your love and passions? Because a lot of people that I speak to and a lot of my clients, when they ask me, hey, Rob, how can I build a business that I love? Like, I don't think that I can be passionate about something and monetize that, right? So what would you advise to people that are currently thinking of starting a business and they want to be passionate about it, right? They want to feel like you just described, loving yourself, having a true passion for serving humanity and being able to change lives through your business. What would you advise to those people on how to get started?
Find that thing that you have experienced in your life that jazzes you. You know, if it's standing on a street corner and saying hello to the world, if it's baking a cake, if it's sewing, whatever it is that jazzes you. The thing that jazzes me is pouring into another human being, giving their lives purpose and meaning, helping them to see and realize that, expand their awareness. Mm-hmm. That jazzes me. So that is, if you peel away everything, you will find that that's where my joy is. And so where joy is, love also exists. So I poured into that, and I looked around the world in my environment to see, well, where could I be consistently expressive of my joy? And out of that, I built my company, the Gray Owl Company, which is a holding company and owns other companies, and one of which focuses specifically on taking entrepreneurs and helping them to identify the joy in their business. Yeah. And that business is called the Fidelity Opportunity Platform.
Incredible.
So we address that specifically in that ecosystem.
So would it be correct, Earl, if we would break that down, right? And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs are looking for strategies and tools and frameworks, but we're talking about a much stronger energy at work here, much stronger force, yes. Right? It's a spiritual consciousness.
Yes.
Would you agree that in order to build a business around your passion, step number one is to really define what drives you, right? What you could consider like pouring your energy into for the rest of your life, something that satisfies your need.
Right.
And then finding the right partners or the right components to build that business with, right? Would that be accurate?
Yes, depending on the type of business you have, but firstly understanding that passion, there's a difference between passion and love, and that passion is an energy that is momentary, and it's used to drive you through the tough time. When you hit a wall, your passion may fuel you to break through that wall, but it is your love that will sustain you through the journey. So yes, you're absolutely right. Being aware, once your awareness will attract the right people. Yeah. So you can build team by being aware of your passion and your love. And if you can transfer that passion while acting in love of what you are doing and what you intend, you will draw people that are tuned into that, and you can build a very strong team.
So good. So it sounds to me, once you're clear on your passion, your purpose, your love, it seems that the pieces are going to come together. You may not know it now at your starting point, but the pieces will come as long as you're clear that the journey that you're pursuing is the journey that you know is transformational, not just for yourself, but for so many other people.
Yes.
And Earl, let's take it up a notch because I know that you have been a very accomplished man in your life. We talked about that earlier, right? You had so many business ventures, and I know that you're an advisor and you're on the board of so many global companies. Now, how does one build a business with love, with passion and purpose, and then take that to a level when it's also generating millions of dollars along the way, right? Like, what is the key sauce, the key secret there to building economies of scale, so that you can actually get to a level of financial security, not just for yourself, but for your organization and your vendors and your partners and the people that you serve? Like, how does one take it from like a small passion project to a serious enterprise of economies of scale? How do you do that?
Yes, it's very serious business. Business must be treated with seriousness. And again, with love, the evidence that you are pursuing your business with love is that in those moments where you have to consider what is best for your client or your customers versus what is best for your company, you may decide to use cheaper materials. You may decide to truncate your process, anything that gives you more and more profitability. Sometimes it will come down to choosing between the love you have for your customer, their experience, so that they remain loyal to you. And then they build passion around their experience with you, and it begins to expand. And you can sometimes, in some cases, suddenly find yourself with the glorious problem of being overwhelmed by demand for your service or product. And I have faced that from time to time. But it's your commitment.
Are you referring to like referrals? Like when you serve your customers at the level where you create loyalty and excitement and building fans around what you do, are you talking about then those people will actually start to spread the word for you?
Yes, they become advocates for you. Very well said, Rob. They become your advocates, and they tell people not just about, hey, I bought this widget from this company, from your company, or I had this service from your company, but it was the way they considered me. I felt valued, and in value, that's where the love is expressed. And that value will transfer itself to bottom line revenue. Yeah. And you can build millions with a quickness. I've seen it happen over and over again. And we're seeing more of that now in corporate, not only corporate America, but corporations around the world, where they're taking a shift and they're looking at who are we being in love with our clients, with our customers. How can we serve them, not just from let's make the fastest buck and most that we can for our shareholders, but how are we also serving humanity?
Wow.
And
beautiful.
People will give you love back for that.
Beautiful. And that really resonates with me, Earl, because in my organizations and everything I do in all my enterprises, it comes from that same love and serving humanity. And through my vehicles and through my enterprises, we're able to change lives. So let's switch a little bit over to your platform, because I know that you're currently in the process of building this platform for entrepreneurs. And I know that you're a mentor to so many great and upcoming ventures. How did this platform get started? And what is your intention with it when you start to open up towards so many entrepreneurs that are looking for the resources and mentorships and the tools to get their business off the ground? So where do you want to take that? What is your vision?
Well, this happened because I was observing what was going on in the entrepreneurial space, especially as regards funding, investor funding. I'm an advisor to a national angel network. I'm also an advisor to a former U.S. ambassador. I'm also a founding member of the board of directors of the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, which connects me to chambers of commerce all around the nation and around the world. And so I began to see the consistency of what was missing. An average of 3% of businesses seeking funding per year actually receive funding. Well, that's a problem. What can I do about that? And so thus was born the Fidelitas Opportunity Platform, which will be launching near the end of September. which is an ecosystem for entrepreneurs who are ready in their mind, in their heart, in their spirit, and in their fundamentals, who are ready to become a member of a platform wherein everything that is required to drive your business, to shape, sharpen, what we call amplify your business is there for you. And for the first time ever is automated. So strategic planning, sales and marketing that drills down so that you can make the changes that you need day to day, week to week, month to month. But also, so it's based on four pillars: continuous evaluation, continuous refinement, continuous reporting, and continuous funding. So the platform is connected ultimately to a fund. So when you become a member of the Fidelitas Opportunity Platform, not only is your business focused on, but your team is focused on as well. So every aspect of your business and your business's intention is focused on, and it is refined, and then it is reported. So investors know that you're coming and they see what you're doing because they've journeyed with you. When it comes time for funding, you get it. Our goal is to increase from 3% to get to double digits of funding.
Beautiful. And Earl, I have to ask you the question, and I'm certain that a lot of the people watching this right now, they have the same question. But as you are forming and about to launch this platform, what is the driving force? Like, what is that love purpose that is so evident within this platform?
It is that I peer all the way through the landscape of not the business as being human, but as the team behind it is being human, and that they have goals, they have needs, they have desires to achieve success, not just for themselves more often than not, but for their families. So for mothers and fathers who own businesses to be and leave a legacy for their children, who may grow up to desire to engage in business and leave a legacy for their children. Ultimately, it's really about being the best I am that you can be. And this will drive the capacity of business, the quality of business, how it's done, how people are considered in it, because all business is people. Without people, there is no business. Absolutely. And so B2B is really, me to we. It's not just the lack of emotion that's generally represented.
I love that. I'm gonna rephrase. So you're saying me to we. So me becomes we. It's not me and you. It's like we become we, and by the common interest and the common skill sets, or that we complement each other. This is where you create a lot of value for the marketplace.
Sure. And currently our landing page is up and available at fidelitasplatform.com. You can go there, enter your email, and we'll keep you apprised up to and when we launch. So,
beautiful. I'm very excited for this, and it's right here in our own backyard, Earl. So I can't wait to follow that journey. Now, I want to talk a little bit about monetization, right? Because one of the topics today is how we can turn that passion and that love and the purpose for what you do, even if you're currently working a job. Some people are very, very satisfied with the jobs that they have. And other people, they are looking to build an additional income stream, something that they can put their stamp on, something that they can feel proud about, right? Which is a business. Now, how are we able to monetize? What would you, in your programs and your teachings, Earl, what would you advise to people if they have an idea and a passion and a purpose? How can you turn that into a business, over the next few months? If consider this would be the final 4 months until the end of 2020, and you want to walk away with a business that generates at least revenue, right? What would you advise to get started? How do you monetize that idea, that product or service, get it into the market and start cashing in on that? Because I think the basis is, the premise is, we all need money, right? The law of circulation, nobody is helped until a transaction is made. So, so how can we get into business by monetizing that idea? What would you advise?
Well, it's a combination of elements that starts with your attitude. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to engage a customer, even if you're not ready. You know, ready isn't always everything, you know, checked off. Ready is the attempt and then learning from it. So even if you're not ready, make the attempt and learn from it. Also, not being afraid of debt. Oftentimes, debt is considered something very negative. But when you start your company, I encourage entrepreneurs to begin right away to build their business credit, because otherwise everything's coming out of your pocket, and that will drive you to make bad decisions, bad choices, and also drive you into debt. So sometimes you can't even get into the business. So build business credit, whether it's a credit card from a local retailer or anywhere that your business can have business credit. It's very useful because then you can leverage perhaps even a short-term loan or long-term loan so that you are now on a platform just like the Fidelity Opportunity platform. We can support you in making sure that you utilize that effectively to prepare you for investment dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Hey, and Earl, I got a couple of questions coming in live here on the chat. It seems that a lot of people are getting tremendous value from this, and they're certainly intrigued by the concept of love, because I feel that in corporate America, they don't teach you that, right? In corporate America, as you fulfill a certain purpose and a role as a part of a machine, but it's more mechanic. There's no heart and intent behind it. So it seems that a lot of people are intrigued by the subject of love. Now, I have a question here from Sarah. Sarah is commenting. She's saying, I feel nervous, right, about engaging a customer if I'm not ready. Like, how would you deal with that? Because that's mainly on a mindset level, right? On the thoughts that you have about it.
Yeah.
So what would you say to Sarah if Sarah has an idea and she want to take it out to market and she want to follow that advice? Like, what would you tell Sarah to do to engage anyway without having figured out all the pieces yet?
Yeah, if I were speaking with Sarah, I would say, are you confident in your competency? Are you confident in your competency? If you are confident in your competency, which means, can you do what you said you're going to do when you engage a customer, then do it now. This is part of failing forward, because what you may find is that you are actually ready and possessing of everything that you need to have a pleased customer, satisfied customer. I would also remind her that statistically, when women approach business, they tend to want to have every single box ticked before they engage.
Statistically.
Statistically, let me emphasize, statistically, men engage, if there are 10 things to be done, they'll do 6 and then move. So it's not a competition. It's just statistics. It's just numbers. So ready is when you feel competent about your own capability. Then do it. Make the attempt in order to get the data back that tells you how well you did and what you need to do next to be ready for the next customer. Ready is a frame of mind. It's not an actual mechanism. It's a state of mind, as you said.
All right, guys, we're experiencing a few technical difficulties in the internet, so stay tuned. Hey, Earl, are you back with us?
I didn't realize I'd gone anywhere.
Yeah, I noticed that you froze. It's okay.
Oh.
I think we have a storm coming up here in Texas. That everybody's worried about. So let's consider that the storm is affecting our bandwidth at the moment.
Yes.
But I hope, Sarah, that answers your question, because I feel that is a very powerful lesson right there. Statistically, we want to check off the boxes before we get out. But what real entrepreneurship is feedback. It's like going out, testing the market, get your feedback, and refine the process. So it sounds to me, Earl, that it's a simple matter of a decision that you take, that you don't strive for perfection, but you strive for feedback, so you can learn how to refine, the process, the product, the service, whatever it is that you're bringing out to the marketplace, because the confidence is really in your own capabilities of creating something that adds massive value to the people that you serve.
Yes. And, decision is a word that comes from the Latin that means to cut away from. So decision, incision, excision, cut into, cut out of. So when you make a decision, you simply cut away from all of the other options. And the moment you can make that decision, execute. Because what you want is feedback.
Yeah, beautiful. I have a few more questions, Earl. So one of the questions is that you referenced looking at history as touch points, as reference points, rather than to look back to what actually happened, but you used it as a lesson to move forward. So how can anyone look back on their journey today, even in entrepreneurship, if they're in business, and use certain moments in that journey as a reference point to move forward and actually implement what you've learned to be better in your next venture? Like how would you describe that the history can actually teaches you to move forward and move faster?
I realized at a point in my career when I was struggling with this exact thing, I began to read history books, and I saw failures and I saw successes. I saw rights, I saw wrongs, I saw good and bad, I saw beautiful and ugly. But I realized that I could do nothing about it. I could only reference it. And then it occurred to me, well, why am I treating my history any differently? I can't do anything about it. I can only look at it and reference it. And that shifted everything. It set me free from carrying the baggage of the emotions around my history, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly. And so now I can look back and own my history. I'm in complete ownership of it, but I do not identify with it. So I am not my history now. What I am now is the product of choosing relationship to the reference of my history.
Wow.
So 30 years ago, I might have done something a certain way, but I am not that person anymore. So I tell people, I got here. I didn't start here.
Yeah, beautiful. So good. We really appreciate that Earl, because it sounds that you can actually separate yourself. Most commonly we tend, and yesterday I had a phenomenal conversation with another very accomplished entrepreneur, and he said most of the times we are inside our own heads, and we tend to believe that the outside circumstances or what happens to us, right, it's part of us, it's who we are, it's what defines us. But you're saying that you're separating yourself from those circumstances, and rather than to identify with what happened, you look at it from the outside and say, okay, if I can trace back the series of decisions that led to this outcome, how can I pivot and apply these lessons and do that one thing that will actually move me forward rather than to push me backwards. So you're separating yourself from the outcome.
Yes, absolutely correct. And by separating yourself from the outcome, you can now sit it down, give it a name, because that's the other error, is never let your circumstances name you, because then your circumstances own you. But you give it a name, and now you can view it without emotion and still view it with love. Act upon it with love. determine the outcome with love.
Beautiful. So good. Earl, I have another interesting question coming up. So now that we have dived into your journey and we understand your values, and from the place of love in which you serve your community and all the adventures that you're part of, if you look back on this entire timeline of this incredible journey of life and entrepreneurship, how would you define that journey in one word?
That's worthy of a breath to think about. I would define that journey as humility.
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 And can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like,
yes.
What does it mean to you?
Yes. I choose humility because while I have grown and gained stuff, power, influence, if it was not for the development and the awareness of humility, every time I would have a success, it'd be success in my head. And therefore it would alter the way I perceive the world. I would perceive the world less and less with, by, and through love, and more with, by, and through ego. My ego is not my friend. My ego is my tool, and I am the master of it.
Yeah.
So when I have a success, what I experience is gratitude and humility. But it's humility that keeps me in a place where others can be best served by me.
Beautiful.
So humility.
Beautiful. It's it seems that you're very, very well grounded, Earl, and I love that you're not looking at the financial aspects alone. It's the holistic approach, because entrepreneurship, it's part of you, right? Like many people think that entrepreneurship or running a business, it's something separate. It's a way to accumulate, amass, a fortune or wealth or power or influence, whatever it is that you're seeking. But it's an actual reflection. Entrepreneurship, it's an actual reflection of your inner values.
Yes.
And that you can manifest and add those principles to your business and serve from a place where you already mentioned, coming from a place of humility, coming from a place of serving, coming from a place of like loving yourself and loving your customers, and still be able to generate and amass millions of dollars along the way.
Yes. Simon Sinek allowed us to focus on our why, and appropriately so. But our why is one of 8 things that we must focus on. And I call those things the list of 8. And they are who, what, where, when, why, how long, and how much. Those 8 things will take you full circle to the truth of what you're doing, because all truth is actually circular. If it does not come back and prove itself, then it is not the truth. It is your opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm in the constancy of being aware that I desire truth. And so in each of my respective businesses, every day I interact with my team, and we go through a process of this list of 8 to determine what is our truth, because the proof of that truth will present itself when you're going through the list of 8. Who, what, where, when, why, how long, how much.
Yeah.
So money is never disregarded. Don't hear me say money doesn't matter, but money is the byproduct of your applied intention.
Yeah.
And if your applied intention is applied in and through love, then you will love the revenue that you produce, because it will be massive.
So would it be accurate to say, Carl, and this is what I believe, the more people you can serve through your business with your product or service, the byproduct is the more money you will accumulate, because you're truly solving massive problems. If you come from a place of serving and love for the marketplace and the people that you serve, then the byproduct, the money will follow.
Yes. If you serve your team, even if you're only a team of one, with love, with compassion, with intention, then your team will serve your customers the same way you serve them.
Yeah.
So the more you put into your team, caring for your team, the more they will care for your customers, because your intention is driven through your team, even if you're a team of one.
Yeah.
So that will cause your customers to feed back the intention that you pour out into them, in the quality of your products, in the quality of your sales mechanism, and in the quality of the service that you provide. They will come back and they will deliver to you loyalty.
So
and that will produce millions.
Absolutely. So good. Earl, we're about to come to a close here, but the question is what people are curious about, and especially people who love to read and study and amass information. They are wondering, what is some of the books, or maybe just one, that you have read that really made an impact on you, maybe recently or many years ago? What is that one book that you can recommend that people should read to discover their true purpose, to discover that love, that underlying energy, right? That was so dominant and forceful in your life? What is that one title, if you have any?
Yeah, I was just remembering the impact of Good to Great. That book had a tremendous impact on me. But I also received a book just recently from a friend of mine, John Sticks, which is entitled Discover Your Who. Yes. So let me grab that book. So this book had a tremendous impact on me as well.
Discover Your Who. Discover Your Who.
Yes, Discover Your Who by John Sticks. Because as I said, Simon Sinek had us focus on our why. John Sticks has us focus on our who. And again, which is one of the list of 8. So anything that has me focus on my accountability, my responsibility for my choices, whether in my personal life or in business, then it is a book for me to read. And I'm a voracious consumer of audiobooks. So there's always something going on in my ear.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's incredible. So guys, go and get that book. If you're currently thinking about how do I truly define my purpose, right? If you currently have just a hint of what you love to do, but how do you actually turn that into an actual business? That's a great place to start. So go and get that book. If you want to really define, the dominant forces in your life and how you can turn that into a business, because that's exactly how I got started many, many years ago, Earl, by defining who I am and what are my core identity and my core values. And I was able to turn that into a business. And I went through the same journey. I learned that the more I serve people, the more I'm solving massive problems and creating breakthroughs in my customers and people's lives, the more the financial rewards, the more the power, the influence, the aesthetics will come to me as a byproduct. So I think that the lesson here today is not to focus on the outcome, which could be a financial reward, but focus on creating breakthroughs in serving the marketplace with your product or service or your knowledge. And then those byproducts, they will come to you naturally.
I couldn't agree more. You're absolutely right. It is always the intention of your application that drives the process that produces prosperity. Beautiful.
I think that's an excellent way, Earl, to come to a close. I want to do one more thing if you're up for it. I know we haven't previously discussed it, but I believe in giving back, right? We're serving the community here, and we have phenomenal people tuning into today here saying that they got so much value out of this. So I'm wondering, Earl, if you're willing to do something spontaneous to give back to the community, and I know that you come from a place of serving. So I want to ask you, is there anything that for the people watching and tuning in live with us here today that we can give back? How can we get in touch with you, Earl, and some of your companies? Like, I'm personally thinking, can we give away a coaching call with you for the people that want to get into the business, or maybe have a business right now but are looking for that breakthrough? So they're seeking that expert advice to seek the resources. Is there something that we can do for the community?
Sure. And since we hadn't discussed this previously, I'm going to have to be spontaneous. But I would suggest go to fidelitysplatform.com and you'll see our landing page. And there's space for you to put your email in. Send us your email address. You'll get an automatic responder, but I'll follow that up with a link that will provide just a few minutes of time direct with me for you to ask me a question. Ask me a question about your business. I will give you an answer that I pray will be a blessing for you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Earl, for being so generous. And I think that this is tremendous value. So the team will be publishing the link here underneath this video, guys. So go to that link and enter your email to get your question answered directly from Earl inside the mind of a very, very accomplished entrepreneur. So if you want to take advantage of that, go to that landing page. And Earl, lastly, how can people follow you on this journey as you're building out and venturing forward? How can the people get in touch? Like, are you on social media?
I am predominantly on LinkedIn. Eventually, I'll be moving into social media. I've not been a great fan of social media, but certainly LinkedIn. You can find me at the Gray Owl Company. And also, I invite you to review my podcast, which is the 2020 Foresight podcast, where we interview CEOs all over America. And so you can get additional insights there directly from the CEOs themselves. Beautiful.
So there you have it, guys. Go and connect with Earl. Follow his tremendous podcast. But moreover, take advantage of this very, very generous gift of some time with Earl to get that probing question answered. So if you're thinking about it, if you're ready to create that breakthrough, take advantage of this. And for now, Earl, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you. I enjoyed this conversation so much. And I think that you have a phenomenal journey, phenomenal story to tell. And we look forward to following you on building out the Fidelity platform right here in the heart of Texas, in Austin. I think we certainly be seeing from you. So I appreciate you and hope we can get to do this again.
If I may, let me just spell out Fidelity's platform. That's FIDELITSPLATFORM.com. Fidelity's platform.
Fidelity's platform. Thank you for clarifying that. We will follow up. My team will follow up with you to get the exact URL. So make sure that there's no mistakes. But we appreciate you. And I wish you a phenomenal week. And like I said, maybe sometime we can do a review, invite you back on the show and to hear about the results so far, because I know you're moving full force straight ahead and make this 2020 your best year yet.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to have been welcomed here today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon, Earl. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care.